Okay. Think we're live, like properly.
Oh.
Audio on
Hello?
macOS is very finicky.
I thought macOS was just supposed to work.
Well,
Yeah, that was supposed to work, bro.
Big Sur changed a lot of the audio, like it changed core audio.
Why are you using a beta operating system?
Well, it comes out tomorrow, so it's not a beta operating system.
It sounds like
I think by definition it's still beta.
I'd say it's pretty Well, I was on release candidate 2. So if anything, it's up to the apps to update, not the operating system to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Actually, if you think about it,
It
Linux
sounds like
is
victim
just
blaming
beta.
here, man.
APIs change all the time. What do you want me to do about it?
No, APIs are copyrightable, dude. We can't change to them.
I think you can change APIs without problem.
Oh, hey, Gavin says to change the title.
Oh, let me do that right here. LugCast classes. More like
Yeah, we should probably get through the topics fairly rapidly if we want to talk about classes.
Yeah, let's just get through the topics pretty quick. Well, are we ready to start?
We're live.
Are you gonna do webcam or not?
That's up to you. I can't do webcam right now.
Okay, that's fine.
I got little ones around.
Oh whoa.
Wow, my Chromium is borked and this video doesn't play in it because I'm missing a lot of like the content protection plugins.
Oh.
And I don't know how to get them. All the guides online are just like, oh, just go to this website. I'm like, well, it doesn't exist anymore, so.
Oh wait.
How does this work? Channel.
I turn it off so my kids would be on camera. Then one walks when I turn it off.
Oh, I have to change the. Oh, we're not like. I have to change my scene. There we go. I think it's working fine. Let's turn that up a bit.
Okay.
Hey!
Wow. There we go.
We're live
so good
now,
we're so good at this.
You can tell.
Professional strummers.
Yep. Oh, let me get this out of the way.
Alrighty. Welcome everyone to the Lug Podcast.
The last.
Not the last one.
Of 2020.
You don't know that.
We might have a break.
We could have we have 10 weeks. That's 10 podcasts.
Yeah, the entire winter session.
That's more than what we've done.
That doesn't mean anything,
It's fine.
Dude. Christmas is on a Friday. We're fine.
So we want to start off by making an apology. We've been gone for a couple of weeks. Ironically, the last time we spoke, we talked about burnout. And I think we were all sort of like, we just need a break. There are crazy things happening in the world and in our lives. And so we took a break. Unfortunately, hey, forgot to upload the last LugCast to YouTube. So
I'll see if I can do that. I can see if I can do it really quick. But
so we lost the last LugCast, which had a great interview with Jess, unfortunately. So we'll try to see if we have a recording somewhere. But you know, it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah.
Oh no, I can do it. I can. I can.
It might not be done.
There you go.
All right, quick, do it before it runs out.
All right, I started the export.
All right.
That's
nice.
good. We don't want to miss that content.
All right, so, Scented Fern.
Yo.
What have you been up to the last 3 weeks?
The last 3 weeks have been hell, and I want this semester to be over.
Amen.
And I have not been up to anything super exciting. I have been enjoying, on like the tech side, I've been enjoying the Zen 3 release.
11th gen Intel?
What's up?
11th gen Intel, that's coming soon.
It is coming soon. It's probably going to be terrible.
14 nanometer, baby.
Their geriatric 14 nanometer process is probably not going to be able to compete.
I think big numbers is better, right? So 14 is like, you know.
The thing is, Intel's 10 nanometer, their 10 nanometer SuperFET is actually, like, it's denser than TSMC 7 and has some other advantages. So if their 11th gen was on like
This
Intel 10
meeting
nanometer
is being
SuperFET.
recorded.
It'd actually probably be pretty competitive, but it's not. It's still under 14, and they've clearly squeezed out all they can squeeze out. So, I've also I also was watching the Apple M1
thing?
announcement,
Yeah.
which we can talk about later. Yeah, we'll get to that.
We'll get
But
to
that's
that.
what
We'll get to
that's what
that.
I've been up to besides the school hell.
Yeah.
How about you, AKK? What you been doing?
I updated my computer today to a new version of my bootloader and operating system.
Oh, so which Linux distro did you upgrade to?
It's called macOS Big Sur.
I've never heard of this.
It's actually, like, surprisingly, there's actually a lot of interesting, like, security tidbits that went into this last release. It's called volume sealing, where basically it, like, makes a hash of your entire, like, like, the files that you shouldn't be able to touch. And then if that hash doesn't match, like, every time it turns on, it won't let you, like, turn the computer on. So it's like it's a double-edged sword, right?
So actually, NetBSD had a feature like that called Verify Exec, which basically does what you said. It takes a checksum, stores it in the kernel, and then verifies that the files match that. So
Yeah. I think it's pretty neat. Like, I was reading a blog post about it, how just the boot volume of Macs have changed over the last 3 years, but
I think aren't there like a lot of new security features in new Apple Silicon too?
yeah.
That once again we can get to a little bit later.
Yeah. There's a lot of security.
I think some of them were a little controversial in terms of.
well, on the show doc here it says you're officially boycotting Taco Bell.
Yes.
Why are you boycotting Teebs?
Well, so I have been going on the Taco Bell subreddit a lot lately, and it has
There's a Taco Bell
Whoa,
subreddit.
hang on.
It's called it's Living Moss. I have been red pilled on why Taco Bell is a bad company.
What? Why? Why? One reason.
The newest item. I don't know what it's called. I had one yesterday, and I was like, so it's like you know the cheesy roll up thing from Taco Bell? I don't know if you've ever had it. You
No.
shouldn't. But it's like it's so small, like it's a cheesy melt. It's the cheesy roll up with chicken in it. And it was like the size of like smaller than like this Apple TV remote. And it's like as thin as the Apple TV remote. That red pilled me. I'm done
This
with
subreddit
this.
has numbered Taco Bell experiences. Experience 2, January 31st to March 11th. Buffalo chicken fries and burrito, double cheesy gordilla crunch nachos
Yeah.
party pack.
So Taco
And you
Bell.
just reference it by E2.
Yeah, so it's like that's just basically how they like roll items out, right? Like, you know, it makes sense. Like it's like McDonald's has like, you know, the McRib or the spicy nuggets or whatever. That's just how Taco Bell.
So you're boycotting Taco Bell because Reddit told you to do so.
No, because I went and Reddit was shitting on it, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go see if it's actually as bad as they say, and yes, it was. Let me find the picture that really made me think.
It made you think.
Really made you think. On another note, the chalupa that they have is pretty good, but
Wait. A boycott means you don't give them your money.
well, yeah, but like
You're
like-
very ineffective in boycotting them.
No,
You're
so,
giving
like,
them your money.
take a look at this picture. Oh, where'd it go? So like, there it is, right? I don't know if you can see on the stream, but like, there's like the little sauce cup thing.
Yeah, the nacho cheese thing.
And there's the actual like burrito thing that you get.
What's the problem?
Those sauce cups are small.
It costs I don't have a problem with it because it costs $1. But if you've been to Taco Bell in the past year, right, and you've bought off their dollar menu, you know how an amazing value it is. That value is gone.
It's $1.
Yeah. Guess what I can
much-
also get for $1?
How much food do you really expect for $1?
I can get a
You buy
McChicken for $1.
Dude, a Snickers bar is more than $1.
Yeah, but that's not a meal, dude. I can get a
Exactly. So what are you expecting for $1?
McChicken, 10
Then go
chicken,
get a Mc-
dude,
then
10
go get a
chicken nuggets.
McChicken.
But I want cheap Mexican food.
Is it Mexican food though?
It's not.
It's not, but
it's inspired.
Taco Bell, you're
All
really
right, let's
making me
move on.
question.
Yeah.
Let's move on. Yes, Seabass is correct.
I even had a Del Taco, so I've had Red Burrito before, but that's not very good.
Dude, I love Del Taco. Do you know we used to have a Del Taco here in Mishawaka,
Yeah, you were telling me about it.
but
I think you were ranting that it's gone.
the Great Recession took it out, unfortunately. So,
You can get $10 10 nugs for Burger King.
dude, that's disgusting. Anyways, so so I've been of course playing Minecraft Dungeons. There was a new release called Apocalypse Plus. They made it way too hard. They need to rebalance the game, but I won't rage here.
Your children's game was too hard.
Yeah, it was too hard actually. I can't play the highest difficulty anymore. Used to be like I could face roll. Now I can't.
Imagine there being an actual challenge.
I actually have to try, unfortunately. But also I've been reading books. So I've read 2 books. I read The Dragon Republic, which is a fantasy book inspired by Chinese history, 20th century history. So, the Mao Revolution and stuff. I also read this book called Cold Iron. It's the start of a series by a great author named Miles Cameron. He also has another name, which is Christian Cameron. For some reason, his historical fiction he publishes under Christian Cameron, but his fantasy books are under Miles Cameron.
Actually, it's kind of convenient. Just from the name.
It's true. It's true. But his fantasy is really just like historical fiction because like everything is like there's magic, but it's like magic while you're in Byzantine Empire. So I actually really enjoy it. I for a long time I avoided fantasy because I hate world building. Like I hate learning new languages and like geography and locations. I prefer like my fiction to have some basis in reality. It's just weird like that. I'm weird like that, But that's what I enjoy, and so I've been into that. So I'm probably gonna try to read the second book in that series. The Dragon Republic is also a series. The 3rd book is coming out later in November. It's on reserve in the library. I hope to get it. So, and that's what I'll be doing in winter break.
And the first book is called The Poppy War, right?
Yeah, the Poppy War. Yeah.
Cool.
So
check that out.
it's. I mean, the Dragon Republic that series is really good. Cold Iron, it's okay. I think his other series called The Red Knight is a lot better. But it's okay. It's readable. I stayed up to read it, so I guess that's something. All right, let's talk about the news before we get to our CC electives discussion.
All right,
So
let's blast
the
through
the big hardware announcement of the last few weeks, of course, is the Raspberry Pi 400.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this?
I did.
Yeah, I was waiting, for this for so long.
This is what everybody on the internet is talking about. Everybody, is waiting to benchmark the Raspberry Pi 400.
Yep.
So
This is
So okay, a quick overview. So this is essentially a Raspberry Pi that's been baked into a keyboard with some other peripherals.
yeah.
So it's convenient in that it's an entire computer, right? It's an ARM. I think it's a Cortex like A72 or something.
It's just a Pi 400.
It's the same Pi 4.
Yeah.
But you can run legitimate Linux on it.
That's a desktop killer, I heard.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think this would be a cool gift to give to a child? Like this is like they're trying to position this as this is the educational device, stocking stuffer for your children. Like, do you see this like people rushing out putting this?
Are you gonna get one for your kids?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
I think it's tough. Like I'm not sure this is. For me, it's in a tough place because they market it as like, you can use it as an actual computer because it has like HDMI that supports, a high resolution or high refresh rate, which is pretty cool. But then they also are like, well, it's a Raspberry Pi. You've got like all the GPIO and stuff like that. So, for like a stocking stuff for like children's gift, I see it less being used as like an actual Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Unless your kids are like super Chad and just really into coding.
This might make like a great like logic design like device because like you just get like this one kit, right?
I'm not sure it'd ever go for logic design just because of the abstraction level we're going for.
That's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's as cool except like it made sense back in the day with the Commodore 64 because oh look, I can plug this to my TV.
Yeah.
But, like we have laptops and tablets and phones now. Like why would I want a keyboard, a computer inside, not have a screen? It's just I don't know.
But you don't have to pay for a screen. So
Yeah.
if you do already have like a TV in your house and you want like a computer that your kids can use, that's like inexpensive and you're not going to bork whatever computer you actually need to use for work, then I could see it being used there. But I mean, you're still pretty limited in terms of, this is why it's a tough sell for me. Like it's a great IoT device.
Yeah.
Like we already know the Raspberry Pi can be used for a lot of really interesting IoT projects.
But this is like, it's not for IoT though.
Yeah, so this is general purpose.
Computer, it's a
like
Raspberry
not
Pi is
what
not
it's-
very powerful.
No, it's not. Well, it does use ARM.
Sure.
So how good could ARM possibly be? Like, why would anyone ever release a computer that uses ARM processors?
No, never.
Let's just be clear here. No, but Apple made their own thing using the ARM architecture.
All right, so let's talk about the other big hardware.
Okay, yeah, and just to be clear, so Apple licensed the ARM architecture, but they did a lot of their own in-house.
They do everything in-house, basically.
Yeah, so the ARM processor in the Apple Silicon is not the ARM you're gonna see inside of the Raspberry Pi. So just
to be
clear,
fair, ARM has more powerful processors than what's used in the Raspberry Pi. But yeah, Apple has only licensed the architecture. So it's like compatible with the same instruction set. And it's the same like big little, fast processing cores, slow processing cores architecture, but it's not, it's kind of where the ARM similarities end, to be honest.
Yeah.
So what do they announce? They announced
three devices.
3 computers. Yep.
So they got the MacBook Air.
Yeah.
They got
MacBook
Pro,
Mac Mini.
Mac Mini and the Pro, right?
The Pro. I think
from my understanding, it's all the same like system on a chip.
Yep.
But with different cooling, therefore different performance envelopes.
And different binning. So the MacBook Air has 7 GPU cores while the rest of them have 8 GPU cores.
And then the MacBook Air doesn't have active cooling.
Yeah, it's
So there was in like the last hour there was a post on Hacker News from Mac Rumors that the M1 chip actually outperforms the high-end 16-inch MacBook Pro. So people apparently have this out and they're like doing Geekbench benchmarks and uploading it to the website.
Yep.
So these numbers, and Apple is saying in their presentation that it's like 2 times faster, 4 times faster for specific benchmarks. Now, Linus Tech Tips is doubtful. He says this is like a slow motion dumpster fire.
That's just
that was mostly just the clickbait.
Yeah,
title.
I mean, clickbait and Linus Tech Tips. Name a better duo.
So Zephin, the hardware expert here, what's your impression of this announcement? Do you think this is a game changer? Should we all be rushing to buy this hardware? What do you think?
I don't think you should be rushing to buy this hardware, but not necessarily for those reasons. It seems like Apple's compatibility support right now is not there yet. So
unless you only want to use Apple stuff.
Unless you only want to use Apple stuff. But a big part of their dream for this ecosystem is that you're going to be able to compile programs that you develop for Apple systems, and it'll compile for both, Apple Silicon and Intel. And that doesn't exist yet. So if you're anyone who uses programs not written by Apple, such as the Adobe Creative Cloud.
No, those do exist. I mean, there's got the Rosetta too, the translation.
It does, but we don't know how good that is. That might have a huge performance penalty. It's unknown so far. So I would I would not rush out and buy one day one until we know some of that kind of stuff. The hardware is interesting. I'm really particularly excited about Big Little coming to mobile devices like laptops, because that could have some pretty huge.
So explain the Big Little thing for our novice audience here, including myself.
This is a really Big Little has been an ARM architecture. It's been around for a while. Basically, the idea is you have some super fast, high performance cores, and then you've got some much slower but way higher power efficiency cores. And so if your computer is idling or running background tasks, those are going to be done on the high efficiency cores. And the idea is you'll get theoretically higher battery life. So that's what I think probably where Apple's getting a lot of their like battery life numbers from their keynote that they gave. So that's really exciting to me.
Yeah.
Apple Silicon's probably in general just gonna be really good, knowing Apple's attention to this kind of stuff and the expertise they have.
Maybe you should work for Apple, man.
Yeah.
I probably will not, but we'll see.
So
I don't
AKK
also like sorry.
No, let's up and finish.
Just like a really
Exactly.
quick note on like some of their performance stuff. I don't really know what to think yet because first of all, I don't really know how like the Geekbench really works. I'm not super familiar with it, but
I mean,
Apple's-
we're gonna find out in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
right?
so
once,
when they
once
ship.
people
Sure,
have it, they're gonna run a bunch of benchmarks. We'll know
Yeah.
the truth. We'll know the truth.
But like something that Apple has been doing for years on their Intel products is they've wanted this kind of laptop for a long time, right? Where it like sips power, but is still super snappy. And they've been trying to do that with Intel. So a lot of times their thermal designs have been like run the device at max clock, right? Max power, and then until it hits like 90 degrees, and then quickly blast the cooling and lower all the clock speeds so the device won't break itself, which works. I mean, that lets them get away with like 15-watt coolers on chips that use 25 watts, because the idea is like the average user will only be doing like burst processing, so only stay at 25 for like tiny little bits of time. So like this is clearly the direction they wanted to take for years, and now they can actually do it with their own silicon. So that's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
So AKK, as our resident consumer, how soon will you buy this? Are you just itching?
I'm
Or
waiting.
what's going
So
on?
if I had to buy one today,
Which one would you buy?
the Mac Mini. I think people are sleeping on it. For $699, that's $100 cheaper than the Intel version. I don't. It's a much better computer for the money, right? Because you can pay, I don't know, you can pay $9.99 for the Air, or like $12.99.
Now, to me, based on what LTT was saying, the only thing that sort of bothers me is that with the system is that everything is on the SoC. Like you can't upgrade the RAM, you can't upgrade the storage. Is that true?
I mean, you haven't been able to do that with Apple computers since 2016. So
Are you serious? You can't upgrade anything?
no.
Apple is pretty stingy with upgradability
Yeah.
and right to repair. Right to repair is another huge
Apple say
Oh, that's-
it's not. This isn't news about Apple, right? Like
That's kind of
besides,
terrible.
and with the
No, 'cause
memory. No,
My
go-
wife used to have like a MacBook. Granted, a decade ago, and
Yeah.
you could upgrade the RAM. I thought
Yeah.
that was still a thing.
So
No, it hasn't been a thing for a while.
it's a thing in the iMacs and the Intel Mac Minis, but on their laptops, no, you haven't been able to upgrade RAM since 2012, and
you
store
think-
it like.
Do you think that deters anybody?
I think it deters people who would otherwise not buy it. Right? So, you aren't going to consider buying it, right? And this only pushes you further away. But I think for majority of people, they oh no, I can't upgrade it. Click purchase anyway. Like, people don't care.
Yeah, I mean, okay, fair enough. All right, well, that's probably enough Apple discussion. This is not
Yeah,
mug.
we could go on
This is
for a
not
while,
mug.
but
So speaking of another hardware company, your company,
My
AKK,
company. Yeah.
Dell, is adding kill switches. What's this all about?
Dell likes to kill things, I guess.
oh,
Webcam and microphone kill switches in the Linux kernel.
Yeah, so apparently, future versions of certain Dell laptops will have hardware kill switches that can be activated via the kernel. That way, to increase the privacy of their products. So, if you want to ensure that no one can be using your camera or microphone remotely, which has happened on the Mac, a few years ago, I believe.
Yeah.
Now you can actually disable it. So my son has a Librem 13, which actually has a physical hardware switch, which mechanically disables that. But this would be sort of a hardware combo software thing. I don't know.
It looks like my confusion was, why not just put an actual switch on laptops like they used to have for Wi-Fi and stuff? But it seems like they want you to be able to do it with a keyboard shortcut, which I guess you need software support.
Yeah, it's like a keyboard shortcut, which is that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's fine.
Because having a side switch, at least on the Librem 13, is really a hassle. Because Caleb always accidentally hits the switch, and then he's like, "Dad, I can't get on the internet." I'm like, "Did you hit the switch?" He's like, "Oh yeah." It's just when you have switches like that, little kids are gonna bump it, and it's just terrible. So, all right, let's move on.
Oh my God, what is this next story?
This is for Sam here. His favorite distro, Fair OS, finally gets a major release. Finally upgrading to 2004. Has all these excellent new themes. I do want to point out that 2010 is out, but I'm glad he finally made it 2004.
Farron likes
Listen,
to take
it's an LTS.
slow.
It's cool.
It's LTS. It's LTS.
Yeah.
Now, if you are an Ubuntu user, though, you definitely want to do a sudo apt upgrade soon, because apparently there's a bug that lets standard users become root.
Oh, interesting.
So,
that's a
How
great
does
bug.
this happen?
So apparently,
I unplugged my monitor.
So apparently there is a terrible local privilege escalation bug in the current version of Ubuntu. So anyone can get access to your computer as root. So please upgrade. Yeah, what happened to our video, dude?
He unplugged his monitor. Yeah. So that's obviously interesting that such a thing. Wait,
now
was that
LugCast After Dark?
Was that in 20.10 that issue was, or was that in 20.04?
I think it's in both.
Oh, interesting. Also, Farron's going in the Apple strat, but it's dropping 32-bit support.
Many Linux distributions have actually dropped 32. So
it makes sense. I mean, for Linux especially, it makes sense.
I'm pretty sure Arch dropped it, right? I think Arch Linux dropped it.
I don't know. I don't pay attention to 32-bit at all because nothing I use.
I'm pretty sure it did, and I think Ubuntu for the most part has dropped it as well.
There's so it's community maintained continuation of 32-bit.
But it's not officially maintained anymore.
Yeah.
Void Linux still supports 32-bit barely, but it does technically.
But what point is there? Like, there's not even many 32-bit devices in the wild anymore.
All right, we're just waiting for AKK. What's going on?
Think so.
Wait, can chat hear us? Hey, chat, can you hear us?
Is anyone even in chat?
Oh, okay, yeah. Gavin's still there.
Okay. Should we just move on to the next topic?
Let's move on to the next topic.
Okay.
So we can't see anything, but
it's an actual podcast now.
It's an actual podcast. So this is actually came from my wife. Facebook groups that spread misinformation are now facing probation and forced moderation. Have you heard about this, Zephan?
No, I haven't. Is this like following some of that other stuff we were talking about like weeks ago in terms of moderation?
Apparently, like Facebook is going in and saying, if you're spreading misinformation, we're going to put your group in probation, and then any post had to be officially sanctioned by the group moderator or the Facebook administrator.
Interesting.
And so a lot of groups, are not happy about this, and they're threatening to move to say, Parler or say Gab or other, alternative social media sites.
I feel like that's kind of an empty threat because like Facebook still has a huge user base, especially with slightly older users than like people are.
Yeah, but the thing is given like the current like political environment, people are not happy.
Yeah.
And so they want to share certain type of information, and Facebook is not having it.
Are they worried? Yeah. So who is deciding what is misinformation? Like, what is truth? Who is the arbiter here?
I think that's the problem, right? I think Facebook is sort of injecting themselves as, we're going to be the fact checker of record. But
I mean, in some respects, though, this is kind of like, I feel like misinformation is really dangerous in social media. Because you can have some potentially like dangerous information shared. I mean, just think about like the whole like Tide Pod shenanigans and there was like even like the cinnamon challenge like a long time ago.
Plus the whole 5G coronavirus thing.
Plus 5G coronavirus, we had people like burning down 5G towers, which was probably more dangerous than the 5G towers were on their own.
I saw a 5G tower in downtown today, and I was scared.
Did you feel any warmth?
I just felt Bill Gates sending messages to my brain.
Oh,
AKK.
Okay, there we go. I managed to unplug the monitor with my foot.
That's some real skill.
And so I didn't know which end it unplugged from, and I had to dig around behind my monitor and behind my computer.
We sort of just kept chugging. We're on topic 6 now.
We're on. We just talked about Facebook. You know what? Let's just go ahead. Let's move on. Let's go jump to 7, which will lead to our electives. So, okay. Article 7 says it's time for more critical CS education. So the gist of this ACM article is that they're saying that a computer science education shouldn't simply be about data structures and operating systems and Turing machines. It should be transformative and speak truth to power about ethics and inequality and social justice. How do you feel about that? Since you're both, I believe, in ethics right now, right?
I already took ethics.
Yeah, Zephan already took it.
So how do you feel about this notion that we need a more critical CS education?
In some respects, I agree. I think, for example, like just an ethics class doesn't exactly make like CS. It's hard to just teach ethics as a class, right? I think that in like our department, right? I know you taught it for a while, Professor Bowie, and you really tried to get like a lot of discussion among students, pulling in like contemporary issues and stuff like that. I think that was a good enough outreach. I'm worried that if you try to include a lot more like extra CS stuff beyond CS topics, then you lose a lot of the rigor, right, of like a CS degree. And I think that could be problematic because like CS is constantly evolving in terms of, the power and everything you can do in computer science. I think if you take too much time away from that, then you might not be preparing people for the workload or for the workforce as much. But I don't know.
Well, I think this article goes a little bit further, right? Can you scroll down a little bit, AKK?
Yeah, the responsibility section.
Yeah, I think it goes further than just talking about pure ethics. It argues in a way that you need to talk about that you need to challenge your students, right? That about the choices they make and make value judgments. As someone who has taught the ethics course, right? I find this incredibly difficult because how do you do it in a way that it's not like I'm imposing my views on the students?
Yeah.
Like I think
very
that's
careful, right? There's a lot of things to do. You have to respect in like a academic environment.
And the one thing that's always bothered me about me teaching ethics is that I have no ethics training other than I took ethics when I was undergrad. And I took Philo 1 and Philo 2 at Notre Dame, right? Like, I have no ethics training. Like, I'm not trained to, like, think, in a very sophisticated manner ethically, like, in a sort of rigorous and scholarly way. Obviously, I try to be
your ethics training comes from your experience.
Right, which is somewhat valuable, but I would say it's not necessarily an academic thing.
Yeah,
right?
It's not like a deep intellectual endeavor that you've.
And so I think this is interesting. I do think that there's a greater move to include more ethics in computer science, and there's something the department is considering. But I don't really know the right way to go about this.
Yeah.
Like, how do I include ethics in FunCom, in data structures, in logic design, in systems? Well, in systems, I kind of do it because I talk about, for instance, CBAS next semester, you're going to have to do a assignment where you look at the demographics of the department, and we sort of look at, what's the gender gap currently in a department? Is it getting better? Is it getting worse? And that's sort of an opportunity to talk about the different experiences people have in our technology environment, and what does it mean to be in the minority, whether that's racially, whether it's based on your gender. What can we do to be more inclusive and more welcoming, right?
Yeah, but that's still
that's
just
in the
like kind of a
context of
tangent. I mean,
yeah,
it's
a
in the
tangent.
context of your course, but that only comes up because you happen to have a Python assignment that's like data scraping, right? Or data parsing.
So Petal mentioned we have this AI and social good class this semester, and there's actually, I think, a whole program dedicated towards the whole machine learning AI stuff. I think there's actually uh, a minor or certificate program you can do under that banner. So it definitely is something the university is looking into. There's actually an ethics center now, and I've been in discussions with some people from the ND Tech Institute to perhaps either have more courses or more speakers or collaborations. Obviously, with coronavirus, it's a little bit difficult, but we'll see where this goes. But it should be interesting.
But it's clearly also like not required right now, and it seems
required.
like ACM is hinting at like it should be a core required part.
And I won't be surprised if they make a stronger statement in a few years. We're saying, if you want to be accredited, you have to have a stronger emphasis in these ways.
Yeah.
But outside the classroom, I do want to point out to plug a couple of things. We do have a CS for Good club. So alternative club from Lug. They are a student group. They do service projects in the community. I think it's advised by Shreya, I believe. So that's a great
especially interesting because that's what I think that ACM is trying to get at in terms of like using your technical experience to do something that promotes like social good.
I also do want to point out for the upcoming winter session that Shreya has a community learning or community service learning opportunity. It's a 1 credit course, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's sort of, you get credit for working with the community. Maybe you make a database for them, maybe you make a website, maybe make a mobile app. But it's taking your skills and applying and helping people in the community. So that's something to look forward towards. I think one of the strengths of Notre Dame is that we do sort of encourage these types of activities. It's sort of built into our DNA to do service work. So that is a great course to consider. Since we're already here, let's go move down a little bit. Talk about the Arduino programming course.
Yeah.
So this is taught by Robert McLaughlin, who's not a normal faculty, but he teaches a lot of great hands-on courses, such as the droid building course. So when you're upperclassman or class person, you have an opportunity to build like a robot that does really cool stuff. And so this is sort of a kind of like a prep course to that sort of type of class, And so if you're interested in embedded systems, people love this instructor. So I don't know that much about the course specifically, but I know like from what people have told me about this person and this instructor and their style, it sounds like a great opportunity to learn something really cool. So do you guys have any thoughts on those two things?
As in Arduino programming or what are you talking about?
Either the computer service project or the Arduino programming.
I mean, personally, like 1 credit courses don't really fit super well into my schedule. I think,
but it's the winter.
That's true. Winter session maybe. Yeah. There's also, I mean, if you're also interested in sort of embedded systems type things, there are actually a lot of different embedded systems courses offered. If you're interested in maybe doing something beyond just the 1 credit course over the winter.
Do they still offer the one that we took as freshmen?
They do.
Okay. Yeah, I really liked that class. The one with
Introduction to Embedded Systems and IoT.
Yeah.
So Nolan asked about robot ethics. Did one of you take it?
I took. What did I take? I took one that's similar to. I think the people in SVS took it or a similar one, the one that I took, but it's basically more of like an ethics like it's a more traditional.
I heard it was good. I heard it was fine. I heard it was.
Yeah, I took tech ethics. Yeah, that's what it's called.
I heard it was good, right?
I was going to take robot ethics, but yeah, no, it sounded like it was going to be a lot of good. Like I really liked the professor who was teaching it. I really thought he would do a good job. But I think if you can take robot ethics, you'll enjoy it.
Now, I've tried very hard as part of my job duties to get that class to double count as the CS ethics requirement, but it has not yet double counted.
Yeah.
But I'm
Tough
working
sell.
on it. I'm
It's a tough
working
sell.
on it. I'm trying to get the department to accept it, but you know,
Yeah.
I don't.
Which
At
like
this
Dinkless
moment,
is
it
echoing.
doesn't. It doesn't double count.
All right. Should we transition into talking about like the CSE next semester
All right,
electives?
let's go
Spring
from
session?
winter to spring. Let's talk about winter
Yeah.
to spring. Let's go.
Yeah. Spring semester.
There's a lot of courses
Any
offered in spring.
subject. Computer, science, and engineering. Go.
I just do computer science engineering.
Is this the way that I get the? Oh, it's like,
Yeah,
what
do
is
subject computer
What
science.
is
Computer
this?
science.
Elements of Computing 1. You guys are a little behind.
It's gonna be
Yeah.
past data structures.
Here, let me.
past
Can I
theory.
share my screen with you guys just so you know what I'm actually looking at?
I'm watching the stream.
I'm watching the stream. I
Yeah,
can
but
see
what's the okay? Elements of Computing 1.
Okay, let's
Scroll down.
Are we,
Discrete math.
Are we just gonna look at the electives?
Let's just
or
look at
what?
electives because I mean,
Is
the
there a way
required
to
courses are required.
All
You
right,
have to take them.
so the first elective is database concepts.
database
Yeah.
concepts? Where's that?
So
Right here.
I would say that this is one of those pseudo requirements. It's not actually a requirement, but like so many people take this, and it's such a practical and useful course that if you can take it, you should. You know, just yesterday we had a person who works at AWS, message me, and they're like, "Herb Derbu, you lied to me. We don't use recursion in the real world. All I do is do CRUD apps with databases. All I do is like push data in and out of databases." I'm like, I told you this, and so
We just
anyways.
have to teach you recursion because otherwise we're not a CS program.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
Deebs, this is an important class.
it's an important class. It's a useful class.
It's also
and
taught by
from-
Weniger.
Yeah.
Yeah, and from what I heard, Weniger does a great job. He's hilarious. You'll sometimes see his son. So he plays music before class. I don't see the problem here. I think Deebs, if you can get into it, take it.
I didn't, and I'm a
yeah.
CPEG.
Wow, Paradigm's at 540. That is
Woof.
that is a wolf.
So is Niemeyer not teaching CompArc?
No, it's who?
That seems like a first. Like just something I noticed.
That's the first in a long time.
But I mean, just so y'all know, Professor Hu teaches the grad CompArc. So
Yeah.
She definitely has a lot of experience teaching CompArc. So class should still be definitely fine.
I personally would like to take it under Mike Niemeyer. I think he does a great job. That's all I'm gonna say.
He's got like the download on teaching CompArc.
He has it down.
And
he's won teaching awards for teaching
Yeah.
CompArc.
And he still cares about improving it, even though he has it down.
He iterates every year. Like
Great
they're
class.
talking about, Meltdown Inspector. It's not like you're talking about MIPS anymore, which is what
Yeah.
we used to do. He talking about ARM now, right? So he updates it. He does a great job.
He takes a lot of it. He takes a lot of feedback from students too.
I don't know
so.
what Dr. Hu will do because she hasn't taught this in a while. I'm just saying, if you could take with Dr. Niemeyer, that would be my go-to.
I think they might be sharing materials for it. Don't quote me on that.
That'd be good. OS with Striegel. If you are a junior and haven't taken OS,
You must take OS.
You should take OS in the spring. Otherwise, you would have to take it with me in the fall, which no one wants to do.
That's a great
Exactly.
time, actually.
That's a mistake, as AKK here can tell you.
Do you think Striegel might give us an outline for our exam?
I don't know. I think 1 year he did an oral exam.
An oral exam for operating.
Yeah, he called you in
Interesting.
for finals week. You had to schedule a time,
Wow.
and he asked you questions, and you had to. Well, probably
Honestly-
not now in the Rona.
But still,
environment,
wow.
But,
No, but like honestly, that's actually kind of a good idea because OS can come up in a lot of interviews in like oral type, scenarios.
yeah, it's not a bad idea, to be honest.
Huh.
I'm just saying. I don't think he's gonna do that going forward. I'm just saying 1 year he did try that, which is interesting. So he's willing to try things out. All right, what else do we have? We have
Algs.
Algs with Tiana.
Alex is required, right? If you're CS.
Algs is required. I think honestly,
If you're CS, to be clear, if you're CPEG, it's not required.
if if you're a junior
Skip
and
it.
you can take algs, honestly, I might consider taking algs because it will set you up for the programming interviews in the fall. I mean, you don't have to. I would consider it as a junior. Um, People know Tiana. Tiana's gonna be tough. She's gonna be rigorous, but
I'm
you
not
know,
looking
she
forward
knows
to
her
that.
stuff. She knows her stuff. So the only question I have of this course is I'm not sure if it's gonna be online or not.
It says online right now.
Oh, does
Yeah,
it?
Yeah.
Does
fully
it? Okay.
online.
So that's
Ooh.
not a surprise. To be fair, this fall I believe Algorithms was online.
No, I think it was in person.
I think it started in person, but I think it shipped it online.
Oh.
I think something else I would say is that if you're CPEG, you may also want to consider taking algorithms. I don't know. In the past, I've had CPEGs say they take algorithms. It was very useful, but you
It
don't
depends
have to.
heavily on what you want to do as a
Yeah,
CPEG.
it does. It really does. It really does.
I don't like Alex. Even for me, would be I would consider taking it. I don't think at this point I have the time to take it, but I think for most CPEGs, algorithms would be really useful.
I would just warn the students out there. You know, you go into a Tiana class, you have to realize like she's gonna be extremely rigorous and extremely strict. So
But you'll know Alex coming out of
yeah,
it.
you'll know Alex. You'll know. I'm just saying, make sure you pay attention to the deadlines and stuff, because it's not you like you take a class with me and you're like, oh, Dr. Bowie, I stayed up late because I was out doing something I shouldn't be doing. Can I get extension? And I'll be like, yes, because I need good sifs. Tiana's be like, I got tenure. No, bro. You have 5. You turn in at 5. So just be aware of who you're taking your class with. Okay.
I think that's brought up a good point. He says Alex is probably better sooner than later. Most schools teach it sophomore junior year.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I think if you are a junior and you can take Alex early, I would do it. It's gonna set you up. You're gonna be better prepared for the fall, for the fall interviews. I would do it. But if it doesn't fit your schedule, you want a better work-life balance, it's fine. I mean, it's winter though, so you're not going to go outside, right? I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's talk about graphics.
Graphics.
So, has Charlie been teaching this?
I have no idea.
I know nothing about CSE electives.
I don't know anything about this course. I think my brother took it and he didn't like it. But...
My understanding is that in recent years, computer graphics has been a lot of WebGL. So they've been doing like JavaScript and like web browser graphics because that's just been easier than setting up OpenGL on everybody's computers. I think if you're into animation, you're into video games, into graphics, this could be a useful course. My feeling though, it's not the course that people think it's gonna be, because a lot of people want like, oh, computer graphics, I want to make video games, but it's not like about game engines. It's about
no, it's about
OpenGL.
Yeah,
it's like the graphic language and
it's about like GPU accelerated web graphics.
Yeah,
it's how I've heard about it, at least.
And depending on who teaches it, it could also involve a lot of linear algebra, because underneath computer graphics
is just a linear algebra.
It's all matrix transformations.
Yeah.
It's like when I taught it 15 years ago, I hand waved all the matrix stuff. I said, here's a matrix, and there's a sine and a cosine. But don't worry about that. Just call this API and it does the right thing.
But some professors might not go for that.
But I think most professors were like, let's talk about the math. I'm like, no, I don't do math. We don't do that here.
I'm surprised it's not using games. Vulkan. Isn't Vulkan the hip new API on the block?
I use Vulkan for everything because Linux.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they talk about a game engine though. I mean, it'd be cool if they did. It'd be cool if they.
I don't think it's not, definitely not in the description though.
No, it's not.
No.
I know for a fact that they use WebGL at one point.
Yeah, that's what they say in the course description.
So they don't use game engines at all. But that doesn't mean you can't like use one as a project later on, depending on the projects, right? So for instance, when I taught computer graphics, I had 2 main projects that the students end up doing. One is they made a video game of some sort, and 2, they made like an animated video, which is a lot of fun using computer graphics. So, all right, ethics. So ethics is a required course.
Probably don't need to talk about that much. If you have to take take it as soon as you can, pretty much.
I think if you're a junior, I would not take it. It's a lot more fun to take it as a senior.
Yeah. Also, it's lighter on the workload. So
yeah. If you want to like hit the senioritis, save it for senior year. It's gonna be your slam dunk, no coding class. Save it for senior year.
The project this semester has had to have like an interactive component.
Really?
We did
some of the groups have been legitimately coding.
Wow. That's nice. That's nice.
We did a Google sheet for or a Google form for our interactive part.
Yes. I know Emery's group has like a Flask server. And
really? Huh.
Whatnot.
Nice. That's cool.
Agile software.
Nate taught this. Nate taught ethics. What's Nate's last name?
Herman.
Oh yeah, Herman. He's a grad student. He taught ethics.
Ethics is sometimes taught by lots of different people. Like Professor Booley's taught a lot, but we've had like
I'm never teaching ethics again. So let's just put that to rest.
Okay.
If you wait till next year to take ethics, I think you will be able to take Walter.
Yeah.
And if you get Walter, he's gonna bring in like high power guest speakers. See, like he is so good at bringing random people, like old school hackers, people in industry. Like that's gonna be a great course. He's in the ND Tech Institute, so he has like all the ties and stuff. So I think if you hold off as a junior to take with Walter, it's gonna be a big win.
Yeah.
So I would. That's just my thinking. So Agile team software project with Shreya. So my understanding of this course, it's like obviously you work in a team on a project, but it's sort of like a software engineering project. It's kind of more. It's not like a lecture-based class. It's more like you just work on a semester-long project. Is my understanding.
I like OSSD. In a sense.
Yeah, it's sort of like that, but probably a little bit more structured than that.
But more agile. Yeah, I like vegetable.
More agile.
Shreya's specialty is software engineering. I know a lot of students who might not like some of her other classes, but they really enjoy her software engineering courses because they just work on a cool thing. And it looks great on the resume because that's something you can talk about, something you can present to employers. Be like, hey, I made this cool project with this website, this database, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Not available for students who are currently enrolled or haven't taken systems yet, by the way.
Yes, you have to be concurrently in systems.
I think you have to have taken systems.
Oh, 3.0, what systems? Oh, no, yeah, you do.
289.
Yeah, you have to take systems.
I wonder why they made systems up here, Rick.
Because you teach them how to code?
That's questionable. I don't teach. Anyways, let's talk about mobile app design. So John Templeton is a graduate student. I believe this is his first time teaching a course. That said, I think he's been one of the super TAs for FunComp. Is that correct?
I don't know.
I think he's been one of the super TAs for FunComp. So yeah, there you go. Seabass says he's his TA. Yeah, and so he has experience working with students. I believe his research area involves mobile apps, so he should have a good background on this. So, I mean, I think this could be a lot of fun. I think John will probably bring a lot of practical, real-world experience to this course. Obviously, everyone wants to make a mobile app. You can't walk through Mendoza without a Mendoza kid saying, "Hey, can you join my startup to make me a mobile app?" It's like, no, like literally, I've had students ask me. They're like, "Oh, Professor Bowie, do you want to join my startup?" I'm like, "No." Ain't nobody got time for that. But it should be fun.
Yeah, probably a good experience if you see that anything remotely like that involved in your future. Probably a good experience.
This is probably a great course where if you want to get into, for instance, a hackathon, you want to participate in a hackathon in the future.
Good point.
If you want to do your own startup, because we do have like the innovation center or the idea center, and so this would be a good training, good experience for help you do that type of stuff. And we've had people from the department do small startups out of our department before. I think actually right now we have like Deliv or something like that.
Yeah.
They do like a drone sort of startup. And so getting practical experience in those types of these electives would be very useful for that. All right, so
hardware for learning.
Hardware for learning. So Siddharth, do you want to pitch us?
Yeah, Joshi.
Siddharth is in the chat. Do you
want
to pitch us on this?
Yeah, let's hear it from the man himself.
So yeah, I think Siddharth describes this course as accelerated for loops. So if you guys didn't know, it's Easy A sold. There you go. Easy
A. I've heard that the workload is very reasonable. You're expected to. I mean, to work hard on the project.
Does he respect students' time outside of class?
I think so. I've been in one of the classes before.
Last year. Yeah. So this is the kind of class that could potentially produce publishable research from the final project, because there's no final exam or wasting time with that. So essentially, you've got the entire course time to, work on your project.
I think. Okay, who's this for? This is for people obviously really interested in hardware, right? This is also for people interested in, say, machine learning. Learning how to accelerate that is actually a very big question, a source of a lot of money and interest. This is also for people who are interested in going to graduate school, right? If you want a research type environment, but for some reason you can't hook up with a professor, or you can't simply find time outside of courses to do that research, this is a course-based reason for you to do research-like things. Siddharth will take you through cutting-edge literature. He will train you to think in a scholarly manner, and hopefully by the end of this, you will actually have a project that could be publishable. I think a couple of people, as you mentioned, did publish papers, which looks good if you're undergrad applying for graduate school. Looks great for graduate students. That's one step closer to the finish line. So Siddharth needs 10 bodies in this class. You could be one of those special 10. So
also just a little information. You probably want to have taken CompArc if you're signing up.
Yeah, Siddharth, would you agree? Should you have taken CompArc to take this course?
That's a quote from Siddharth that I heard earlier.
This is just we pitching Joshi.
Dude, I got Joshi's back, right? He needs 10 bodies in this class. I'm trying to sell it, okay? He needs 10 people in this class.
Jesus.
No, but it should be good. It should be low key. And guess what? This year, it's a Monday, Wednesday class. It's at 2:20 rather than at 5 o'clock. So it's a better time, much more enjoyable. I would go for it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the next
another hardware class.
HLS.
So Zephin, I believe you've taken this course. Is that correct?
I have taken this course. But
what would you say?
I don't know if that's extremely, if that means a whole lot, because Professor Morrison adapts his courses really quickly to student feedback.
True.
Like, he changes them significantly depending on the feedback in the course. So I don't know if your experience will be like mine.
Could you give a broad sense of the material they would cover?
Yeah. So the idea of this course is it's looking at ways in which we can realistically make hardware these days. So I don't know if listeners necessarily know this, but the way hardware is made these days is with a lot of description and code. And the designs are so complicated that we need a lot of help from computer tools to synthesize the code. So a lot of this course is using the System C language, which is it's essentially a hardware description language, doing transaction level modeling, some of that kind of stuff that lets you synthesize hardware from code you've written. So if you're interested in computer hardware, it's probably good for those students. Yeah.
Based on your experience last year, obviously, again, with the caveat that it's probably going to change.
Yep.
It's going to improve. It's going to iterate.
Yep.
Based on your experience last year, though, would you say it was a worthwhile learning experience?
I would probably not recommend it from my experience last year. I think there were a lot of bumps in how it was implemented. So
now we should say that was the first time that
was the very first time it was taught. Yeah. And it's a course that's not taught in very many universities. So it wasn't. Right. It was essentially one of the very first implementations.
And to be fair, from my experience, the first time teaching a course is very difficult.
Yeah,
right.
That's why I prefaced what I was saying with, it's probably going to change a lot.
Yeah, and so just be aware that there might be some smoothing that happens, right, as the course. If
like we had a couple problems because Professor Morrison went out of his way to get like industry contacts to set up like environments where we can use super powerful FPGAs.
Was it Cadence? Was that
it was a few different providers, Cadence among them. And some of that, there's complications with some of that, like not even on Notre Dame side, but on some of these industry contacts. So,
but that said, one thing that Dr. Morrison does a great job at is that he'll connect you with industry representatives, and you'll get a lot of experience with industry level tools. He'll heavily promote you on LinkedIn. And so if you make a project and it's great,
he's a good advocate for.
He's a great advocate, and it'd be something you can put on your resume, and show off, as a cool thing you did.
It's pretty unique in terms of universities too.
So something to keep in mind.
Yep.
Let's move on to CV2. So I'm assuming you had to take CV1.
Yes.
So Mike, you are in CV1.
I am in CV1.
And to quote you, I believe you said that Adam is a chiller.
Adam is a chiller.
I'm a boomer. I don't know what that means.
So it's like...
Can you explain what a chiller means?
I believe on the first day of class he said... this is, I guess, I took it... it's very much a class for senioritis and checking out. It's a very interesting...
Sell it!
This is a good sell. I think you can put in more and then get out more if you want, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's up to you how much you want to put in.
And I'm not saying I haven't learned anything. I certainly have. But Adam was grades are really just there to motivate you. He doesn't care too much about whether or not you get the best grades. As long I believe the grading scale is an 80% is an A. That was the sell right there for me.
Yeah.
But.
So it's one of those courses where you can, from what I've heard from people who have taken it, you can tack it on if you're interested in this sort of thing, and it lets you be very variable with your commitment to it.
Yeah.
Right? If you have a lot of time that week, you can invest more in your CV or vice versa.
So he's not going to force you to engage.
No.
Yeah.
I have engaged, unfortunately, extremely little, and I'm still doing just fine in the course. But that's also a big with the OpenCV, I can write 3 lines of Python and the computer will just do what I want. But
and from my impression, based on what I've seen him, I feel like he really cares about students.
Yeah,
he's very concerned about the workload he puts on you and whether or not you're learning. And he seems very supportive. He gets so excited when students do things really well. He often shares with the faculty, "Oh man, these kids did this cool thing," and someone he's like Dr. Morrison, huge advocate, loves to see students do well. So I if that's what it means to be a chiller, obviously I'm not a chiller, but that sounds cool.
Yeah, this one looks a bit sweatier reading the course description, but I still think it'll be very much, if it's anything like I know of Adam's other courses, it's big chill hours.
Just to confirm, AKK, you can take CV1 and not take CV2, right?
Absolutely. I have probably no intention of taking CV2, but...
Well, again, something to consider for next fall. I'm sure CV1 will be offered again.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's popular.
Something to consider.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about biometrics. This has a terrible time, unfortunately.
Wait, what's the...
Thursday, 5:30.
5:30.
That's what it was for me, actually. I took this course last semester.
Did you enjoy this time slot?
I didn't go to class at all. But I got an A.
So what can you say about the instructor? This is also a grad student.
You can't say about the instructor. You didn't go to class.
Well, so no, I went to class for the first 2 weeks, and then I was like, I'm out. So this is one of Adam's old courses, I believe. So he teaches it a lot like Adam. You don't really have I think I did the final project for this in 3 hours. And starting from 0. We were just we need to do something. The project's due tomorrow. So yeah. It was. I think if you like want to actually have a lot of fun with it, there were absolutely people who did. Like, people would like make molds of like fingers to like test our code with. It was really cool. But again, this is very much how much you want to put into it, and you can put in.
I feel like a lot of the computer vision courses are.
Yeah, say this is one of Adam's old classes, if I remember correctly.
I feel like a lot of the CVRL courses are kind of like in this mold of
chiller.
So biometrics, if you're not aware, are things like fingerprints, irises, facial points. It's think about like NSA, like how do you detect you and all that nasty stuff, right?
Also, all the good stuff like personal device security.
No.
Yeah.
No one likes this stuff. Speaking of computer security, we have this
computer
is
security.
This is usually taught by Walter.
Yeah.
But this is taught by McKeachin, who I believe usually teaches in Silicon Valley, which makes me question: is this an online course or is this an in-person
This is in
course?
DeBartolo Hall.
Who's teaching in Silicon Valley then?
I don't know if that's happening. Is that happening?
Is Silicon Valley still a thing?
No idea.
Because McKeachin is the one who usually teaches in person in Silicon Valley. But if he's at Notre Dame, who's teaching in Silicon Valley?
It says it's limited to main campus students. So I don't know. Maybe Silicon Valley just isn't happening.
Thought they pulled SVS.
Yeah. Say I think it's unfortunate.
Well, I mean, they pulled all the other abroad everything. So
but this is like not really abroad. This is literally California.
Yeah. But I mean, California's
kind of
its own. California, more like.
Yeah, California.
So Gavin, you took I think operating systems with McKeachin. What did you think?
Gavin says McKeachin is a chiller.
It's a chiller. I don't know what that means. People keep using this word.
Chillers are like low effort, high grade.
He's a good prof.
And good profs. You have to be good profs.
From what I heard, he has some pretty interesting like real world experience stories. Like he can tell you some pretty cool stuff. So that might be really fun for computer security.
With solid lectures.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think this course is a wild card because it's not usually taught by this person. And Walter does such a, unique job with all his guest speakers and stuff. But,
that being said, it sounds like McKeachin's.
If you're a senior and you want to do cybersecurity stuff, take it. If you're a junior, you should probably want to take it anyways, because in that way you can go into the fall in an interview, be like, yeah, flex, I took computer security. I know what, a SQL injection is. I can tell you all about this stuff. I think if you're a junior, you should take it. I would go for it. So. So let's talk about ML with staff.
Nice.
I honestly don't know what this means.
Is that just a mistake?
I think it means like they haven't chosen the instructor.
You should offer to teach it.
If it's staff, I'm gonna guess it's probably gonna be like a postdoc or a graduate student, not a regular faculty.
Otherwise, it'd say faculty.
But don't quote me on otherwise it would have the person's name.
Okay.
But don't quote me on that. But usually I think when it says staff, that's what it usually means. I think topically, machine learning, so the whole AI sequence is very strange. Because if you take AI and social good, or AI, or machine learning, or data science, right? All those courses share about 60% of the same content. So it's like kind of repetitive. I don't know. This is up in the air. I don't know who's teaching it. It's hard for me to say. But again, if you want to know this stuff, go ahead and take it. But I can't really guarantee I can't really say if it's good or bad, Should I teach it? No, I'm morally opposed to machine learning. So
plus, machine learning is the future.
Yeah.
Plus it involves math. I don't do math. So
gotcha.
Yeah, just Wolfram Alpha, dude.
Ramsey has tech concepts of VFX, and I hear this is a really popular class.
A very popular class. I do believe that
Hard to get
Ramsey
into.
would not be teaching it.
What?
Really?
We are currently voting on who could possibly teach this course. It's most likely to be someone with a lot of experience but hasn't taught it before. I don't want to spoil anything because I'm not sure I can FERPA it. So
Do you
I'm
sign
not
an
going to
NDA?
say I'm not going to say who it is, but most likely it will not be Ramsey doing it. Ramsey has lots of other things to do. But it should still be a solid course. Should be very interesting. If you're interested in animation at all, video games, lots of people take this course, and it's a stepping stone towards working for Disney, for Lucasfilm, DreamWorks. We've had Notre Dame students who end up in these animation studios. They also take some FTT courses as well. This is a stepping stone towards that. And so if you're interested in that type of line of work, first of all, talk to Ramsey. And then second of all, take this course. Ramsey has the hookups. He will help you pursue this type of career. So.
Right. Next on the list, NLP. NLP is really hard.
Yeah.
NLP
but rewarding.
Is the hardest course. From what students have told me, NLP is the hardest course in our curriculum. Now, people are like, oh no, that's compilers. See, compilers is difficult only because most students are terrible programmers. And so there's a lot of programming in compilers. And so they have to really, really learn to be disciplined in their programming. NLP is like difficult programming, but also difficult conceptually. Like if you don't have stats down, if you don't have machine learning down, it's a big yikes. Again, based on what students have told me, I don't think I could take NLP, right? But if you're up for that challenge, if you're interested in this, I will tell you this. David knows his stuff. David is top tier, amazing. I've sat in David's classes before. Like my first year teaching here, I sat in David's class. And I always felt bad because I'm like, dude, I'm not this smart. Like I can't do this. This guy is a genius. Like I've had other faculty tell me that they're intimidated by David because he's so big brained. Like, it's crazy. If you want to be challenged, if you're up for it, NLP, way to go. And as Emery says, David will help you. I think Darcy is still here. I don't know if she'll be TAing though. I think Darcy's still here though.
Somebody else said NLP was fine with 4 eyes. But I mean, she's not exactly a representative student, so.
Yeah, who said Emery?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emery's a sweat.
She's a major sweat.
I would never listen to Emery in regards to this.
Oh my god.
Chang made theory a lot easier. That's unfortunate.
Dude, you can't say that to the people in theory. You can't say that to the people in theory. They might disagree.
Don't disparage other lug members. Calling him a sweat.
I love Emery. Maybe not as much as Zephyr does, but I love Emery.
Yeah, I mean, I would kind of hope so.
Emery is a great student. See, here's the thing. It's like you don't want to give a test to Emery and have her say, "Oh, this is fine," because that's not going to be fine for the average student. Okay?
No.
That's not. Now, if Emery comes back and says, "Oh, this is really hard," then you've really done bad.
Yeah, then you've messed up.
Yeah, you've done goof. You really want to go to like someone like AKK and be like, "Yo, here's this assignment. Is that okay?" If AK is like, "It's hard," you're like, "Okay, that's about right then."
Or you just want to like double the amount of time Emery takes to do it.
Triple it, at
Or
least.
triple. Yeah.
At least.
Anywho, we've got a lot of courses to get through. We should keep.
do.
Okay,
Yeah,
I
so
just
we
keep
should.
going. Modern web dev, AKK, you took this.
I did.
Wix.
He really likes his stuff. He's good. He knows his stuff. I didn't really care for the framework he was teaching because it is the one he used Angular, not Angular. I think it's Angular JS. Is that the old one? There's an old one, yeah, Angular JS. That's the framework he teaches, and the documentation for it online is very crap. But so what I did, I just hit him up. I'm like, hey, I want to use Vue.js, and he was like, yeah, that's fun. Like,
Oh, cool.
yeah, he's a chiller. He's a. Can we get a chiller category for professors?
It sounds like there's a lot of electives taught by chillers.
we should update rate my professors instead of the hot pepper. We should have like a chiller,
a snowflake, right?
a snowflake.
Maybe not a
stuff
snowflake,
like that
but
has
like,
other
like a temperature gauge, right?
Yeah.
Like he just wants to see you like he's like Adam. He just wants to see you like learn it and get knowledge.
Pretty much what you want in a professor teaching an elective.
Well, yeah.
From my understanding, though, it's very project based, very hands on. Like,
Yes.
go do the thing, right? It's like go do the thing sort of class, right?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Say like he was just like it needs to do X, Y, and Z, and then yeah, he just kind of let us do whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Advanced DB projects with Ramsey. Again, from my understanding, this at least when I took it as a graduate student, this was a quote unquote chiller class where basically you just do a database project. In fact, I believe there's a contest at the end of this course.
Yeah, compete for prizes and rewards.
And you can actually win an award, like money, like cash money reward.
Cash money.
So again, this is chill class, something that looks really good on your resume.
Got the word advanced in it.
Plus, you can win money. So, plus it's Ramsey. You guys know Ramsey. Like,
not all of our viewers do, right?
Oh, really?
He didn't teach Fun Comp that one year, right?
Yeah. Okay. Well, either way,
the only class.
Either way, I think this should be a enjoyable. It's not going to be one of those like I pound my head against the wall NLP theory type classes. This is going to be like, all right, I can do this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool.
Mobile. Wait, is this different? How is this different?
I'm very confused that mobile computing is being offered.
Yeah.
And mobile app.
Yeah.
But I guess my understanding, I've asked this in the past. What's the difference? Mobile app is like learn, Swift.
Yeah.
With iOS and the Android framework. Mobile computing is more about like the overall technological ecosystem. So like, how do I deal with network latency?
Gotcha.
How do I deal with like maybe IoT type stuff? Like, not specifically about building apps, but like the communication and the data transfer in between, the energy profile, stuff like that, which could be interesting. Again, that's my understanding. What does the description say?
It looks like it's a lot of like network crap,
network
stuff,
GPS,
telephony,
project oriented.
Yeah.
This is Polabauer's sort of specialty. He does a lot of cool projects in this area. If you're a sophomore or a junior and you're looking for someone to do research with, Polabauer, from my understanding, like hires like 20 kids every semester to do mobile computing research with. I think Gavin, you did research with Polabauer at one point. He is definitely someone to look for, look to if you're interested in this type of work. So this could be a good class, Sorry, sophomore. I didn't say sophomore. Sorry.
All right. Zane's cloud computing, pretty hype.
Cloud. If you're at all interested in the cloud, distributed computing, parallel computing, if you enjoyed systems or operating systems, don't even think about it. Just take cloud computing.
Yeah. Plus, Thane is a great professor.
Is D. Thane the best instructor by far in the department? Okay.
Debatable.
Okay, maybe
we've got some.
Maybe him and Chang, right? But I would say I'm biased because I took Thane's classes and he was my advisor. Thane to me is the best lecturer. He's one of those types who will tell you awesome stories. He's not gonna like bring up a slide and just like read off the slide. He'll like draw pictures on the chalkboard. He will discuss with you and probe things with you and unwrap things for you. It's a great experience. Even if you don't care, like you go, you're just enthralled. Okay. Don't even think about it. Just take it. Fight with your friends. knock them out, trade spots, whatever you got to do. Take this course.
Only 36 spots. Oof.
Only 36 spots? Oof.
I mean, that's actually that's a lot for an elective, but still.
Yeah.
So.
And then we're coming from Thane to this schmuck on this next course.
So Hackers and Bazaar is a class you do not want to take. It's with someone who doesn't respect your time, for one.
Some gamer nerd.
Yeah.
So this course is since this is our podcast and no one's gonna listen to this in the future, I'll just level with you. The origin for this course was that I wanted to give a parting gift to the seniors about 4 years ago. And so I wanted to give them a chiller course where all we did was like do cool things and eat Chinese food.
Will there be Chinese food?
There will not be Chinese food this year because of coronavirus.
I'm not taking it.
But actually, the first time this course was
Chinese food.
I don't care. The first time we offered this course, we literally bought JW Chen's and we ate in class. And so this class, basically what we do is we read books. So we're gonna read Hackers, Heroes of the Revolution. So this is basically my undergrad like coming to the light discovery of open source journey, accelerated. I'm just gonna force it down your throat. Okay, this will be like we're gonna read this book about hackers and the Heroes of the Revolution. We're gonna read about Paul Graham, so you read some of his writings. We're gonna read ESR's Cathedral Bazaar, and we're gonna read Linus's autobiography. It's about hackers. Now, don't think about Hollywood hackers. Think about open source hackers, because that's the real origin of the word. We're gonna talk about open source. You're gonna do basically either 2 or 4 projects. I'm leaning towards 2 to respect your time outside of class. But the projects are completely up to you. You just have a theme. It's gonna be a lot of fun. We read books, we discuss. It is student-led, so every Thursday I will not be lecturing. Students will come and they will present a short topic of their own choosing. So if you're in the course and you want to talk about how to build a computer, that's great. If you want to talk about the Commodore 64, that's fine. Ooh. It's whatever you want. I give you a list of topics for the week and you can pick and you volunteer. You do have to write a blog. I ask you that you write and reflect on what we read and discuss in class. It's not a lot of work. There's no tests, no exams.
That being said, there's 15 available seats, and you're kind of hyping it as a low.
Yeah, it's so it normally is a 40-person course, but the time slot they gave me was 4 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I did not want that because I don't want a late class, and I don't want it to eat into the office hours I usually have for systems. So I asked to move it to Tuesday morning, but I can't take the 11 time slot because there's literally no rooms on campus at that time.
Yeah.
The only available time is 9:30, but to do a 9:30 time slot, the only classrooms available are restricted to about 15 people. So it
underclassmen are going to have required courses during that time.
Yeah. So it will be tough for you to get into. I understand.
But most likely it might be an option in the future too, right?
It probably won't be offered next year. This is like an every other year thing.
Okay, gotcha.
But the flip side is that most likely next year I'll teach open source software development. So I'll offer that course, which
you'll offer the course.
It's just a nice substitute for this, and so don't feel like you're missing out. This is really a gift to the seniors, for them to sort of
be a chiller.
Be a chiller. So.
Speaking of classes that are almost impossible to get into.
Yes.
Droid building.
Again, amazing.
This class. Is a bloody battle to get into.
You will have to fight people to get in this. It's most likely only going to be seniors.
Just because they have the best registration time.
Yeah.
But it is an amazing course for the juniors and sophomores out there. This is something to put down, to look forward to. Again, you might want to take the Arduino course in the winter to sort of prepare yourself for this. But it's just always a lot of fun. I think at graduation, if we have a ceremony this year, knock on wood, hopefully, they usually highlight the droids, like have them like out in front of the stage, sometimes moving. It's always a lot of fun. So highly recommended.
I would say take embedded to prepare for drug building, because
there
embedded
you
covers
go.
stuff like I2C and UART and SPI, all those and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Game-based agents.
No, not
with
intro to
mates.
embedded. Embedded itself, athletic vegetable.
So game-based AI, I believe this was a course that Sam took. Is Sam here?
No, I don't think Sam's here.
All right. So from my understanding, what you basically did was you built a surprise an AI bot for a video game. I think Sam did like Settlers of Catan. I had a student make a bot for Rocket League. It's not just StarCraft. You actually can pick your own game. So, I think what you'll sense is that most of the electives, outside of NLP and compilers, are pretty chill classes in the sense that it's really you get what you give, right? And so these courses are really about opportunity for you to explore something that might interest you. So you're hearing a lot of these are chiller classes because they're electives, they're not core classes. Like so some things people only realize, after a while is like there's a core class buoy, systems and OS, where I will destroy you. And then there's elective buoy, programming challenges, and hackers, open source, where it's like WTF, he doesn't expect anything from me. So
That's easier for buoy.
Yeah, and there's a reason for that. There's a philosophical, educational reason for that. The electives are there for you to really explore your interests, and it's a give what you get sort of thing. Now, some electives do require a certain sense of rigor. For instance, computer networks is going to be difficult. It's offered in the fall, not the spring, because, well, you have to do networking code, you have to do with sockets and threads and stuff like that. So it's going to be difficult, right? But, certain courses lend themselves to that difficulty. But I would say, for the most part, most electives are going to tend to be like, you chose to pick this. This is the poison you chose. We're going to try to make it enjoyable for you. So, All right. Interactive dialogue system. So this is a strange title. This is a new course by Colin. Colin is one of those instructors I think you just sort of have to take. He's like hilarious. Amazing stories. Quirky sense of humor, I think. I think he's teaching systems right now. I heard it's the superior section of systems, by the way. I apologize to Seabass, has to take it with me. If you can have opportunity to take with Colin, I believe Emery is in the chat. Emery enjoys working with Colin. I think he's highly recommended. He used to teach paradigms. But this course is about bots like Alexa. So how do you design a system where you're meant to dialogue, communicate, hey Siri, what's the weather, right? Like that type of stuff. How do you create systems like that? So I would highly recommend, if you're into that type of stuff, I think Colin, great instructor, forceful personality, lots of fun. Okay. Keep going. Should we keep going?
That's all of them.
That's
for
all
undergrads.
That's all.
We have. Okay, so one thing I want to tell students, particularly if you're an undergrad, particularly a sophomore, one thing you should realize is that if you don't see a course on here, but you want to do something in a certain area, you can always ask to do research with a faculty member.
And there's a lot of research spots open.
If you come to a professor and you're like, I want to do research in this, and guess what? You don't have to pay for me. I just want course credit. You're like, great, excellent. I don't have to waste money on you, right?
Yeah.
It's
better for them actually.
I think Zephin, you're doing research right now.
Yep.
Do you want to talk about that? Do you want to talk about that experience?
I've done research for a few semesters, also in the summer. Research for me, especially for me, is absolutely necessary. It was definitely a goal of my undergraduate education because I want to do something very specific in terms of what I want to do in the future in the career, and also I'm thinking of going to grad school, and for that, research is also almost a necessity. the best part about research, as Professor Bowie said, is you can find a faculty member whose work is something that sounds interesting to you.
Why don't you give that faculty member a shout out since they're in the chat?
Oh, I don't think they might be. I researched with Siddharth Joshi. He's a top tier research advisor. And so a lot of his work is on hardware systems beyond von Neumann, super low energy, chips that are very good at doing one thing. But yeah, as Professor Boo was saying, there's a lot of different CSE faculty at Notre Dame that all work on very different things. And so that's probably the best way to get a learning experience that's tailored to something specific you want to do. Or it might just tell you, wow, I don't want to do this. Right? I thought this sounded fun, but this is actually terrible. In which case, if you're researching for credit and that happens to you, most of the time, the faculty you're working for or researching with will have other projects you could work on if you're like, God, this is not good. So you're not necessarily screwed there.
And I would say for the most part, it's an easy A as long as you do the work and you come to some sort of agreement with the faculty member.
Yeah, it's much more like relationship based, right?
But that's not really the focus. It's not really the focus though. It's really about an opportunity for you to get really deep into, like as Evan said, a specialty area. Another reason why I think you should consider undergraduate research is that once you use up your 6 credits of it, you could consider getting
3.
paid. Oh, it's 3?
Well, it depends. So it's 3 credits as a CSE elective, and the other 3 only count as a free elective or tech elective.
Sure. After you use up those credits, right, you can also parlay that into a job, basically. You get paid to do it.
Position.
Another reason to do that is that, students oftentimes, as the juniors have realized and the sophomores will soon realize, is that, if you apply for a job, you probably will end up needing a reference or someone to write you a letter of recommendation. It is very hard for someone like me who has, say, in systems next semester, 170 students to write a good letter of recommendation to a person I will most likely never see because we are in Zoom U.
The relationship is just not the same. It's not conducive for that.
I can say, oh, yeah, this person got this grade in this class, which is fine. But an even better letter would be like, oh, yeah, this person is very passionate in Linux and open source. And I know this because they did research
I talk with them every week.
And I talk to them every week. And I see them doing this. And I know that they work on this cool side projects on GitHub, right? That's a much stronger letter than, so-and-so got, like for instance, I don't want to bully AKK, right? But, AKK is not, on the eve of his OX exam, a great student.
Hey.
but
I have a job.
But in his letters of recommendation, I write, he is an amazing person because he does all these cool things. He has such great passion. And although his grades don't necessarily show it, he has all these cool things that you can talk about to him. And guess what? Hater's gonna hate. He's gonna work for Dell. He's got a job. I don't know how, but he does, right? And
because
so
Jess is a
base Jess.
Because base Jess got him a job. And so, I think a lot of students sometimes too focused on their grades, right? But
and then that kind of like research relationship can speak to something beyond grades.
Yeah, I think as you go through the program, right? Obviously, you want to do well, right? You don't want to fail your courses, right? But what's really going to carry you, though, are the relationships and the experiences and the things that you do as add-ons, the value add, right? Guess what? Everyone in systems, at least in the previous years, wrote Spidey and Thor. They're not going to do that next year. I'm going to respect students' time outside of class, right? But everyone wrote a web server. So that's not a differentiator, right? But the students who said, hey, I wrote a web server, but then I made a script and then I hosted it on DigitalOcean and I made this extra cool stuff on the side. That's the value add. That's the extra stuff that's going to set you apart. That's going to show your passion, show your skills, right?
Yeah. And then one final sell, like also research lets you do a project for more than just one semester. If you set it up like that, you can. I mean, if there's something you're passionate about, you can continue working on it. I mean, so long as your relationship with your faculty advisor is good, and that's also really valuable too. Then you can speak to something that's not just like this one-off thing, but it's been a longer, more serious, long-form project. So.
All right, let's open up to the chat. Are there any sort of final questions that we did cover?
Oh, can I quickly say something about like CPEG stuff?
Of course.
Sure.
CPEGs, I think CS students too have the opportunity to take any EE course as a CSE elective. And I know that sounds awful, but there are some really cool EE courses that don't necessarily require like a whole bunch of EE core classes. Some of them include like quantum computing, intro quantum computing. I don't know the instructor this semester, Anthony Hoffman. I haven't met him. But in that class, in the past, that course has been like a really cool, very different from stuff you encounter in the CS program. I also mentioned briefly embedded systems. There's embedded systems in the CS department. There's also embedded systems in the EE department that's a very like in-depth. If that's something you want to look at as like a CPEG, then embedded systems is an excellent course. It only requires logic design, I believe. And that is a hands-on, interesting course taught by Robert Stevenson, who's the advisor to all EE students. Great professor. So I think there's a couple other ones in there, but I don't want to take too much time talking about it. But just saying that's an option for CSE students too.
All right. Do we have any questions from the chat?
Take any class with Faye. Yeah, Faye is great.
I guess one final thing I would say is that in designing your schedule for next semester, I want you to keep in mind, particularly if you're a sophomore or a junior, right? The issue of work-life balance. I know it's like, okay, yeah, herp derp, whatever. But like, honestly, you've gone through a semester where there's no breaks. Yes, we're doing like this weird mid-week break every 3 weeks thing. I don't know. It's not gonna work. Okay, I'm just gonna tell you it's not gonna work.
But there's also stuff that you wouldn't expect, like internship hunt takes time.
Yes.
Like
yes.
You have to consider it's not just school only that's going on.
I know it's very tempting, because you're Notre students and you're like A types. And you're like, oh, I can do everything.
No.
But like as you
No,
have
you cannot.
hopefully as the juniors have hopefully learned, and the sophomores will probably learn soon, you are finite people, meaning you only have so much energy and so much time.
Yeah.
And that's only going to be worse in the environment we're going to have in the spring. So really consider, the courses that you absolutely need to take to be on track and the courses that you really want to take, right? And so, for instance, if you're a CPEG, one thing the department is considering advising students to do is your CPEG, perhaps push systems to junior year, right? Focus on your EE courses, focus on logic design, right? Because those are really the more important courses for your trajectory. If you are a CS major, right, perhaps consider pushing logic design back to junior year, right? Again, this is not ideal. This is not necessarily the best, but, to be honest with you, if you're a sophomore, logic design and systems programming are going to be two very time-intensive courses. Again, I will do my best to streamline it next semester to respect your time outside of class. But based on my track record, I fail every year, right? I will do my best, but historically, it is a time-intensive course, okay? This is on top of possibly taking data structures, which my understanding is becoming more rigorous. This is on top of possibly taking physics. It's possibly taking stats and a calc course, right? So really consider perhaps shifting a course to the junior year, right? And you'll be fine. You'll still be on track. You'll still learn what you need to do. I would really think about Again, you're gonna think I'm superhuman. You know, I can do it. I got 4.0 in high school. This is gonna be easy mode. It's not. Ask
Yeah.
any of the juniors and seniors. Spring sophomore year is, for some people, the most difficult year. Not just because the material is difficult, it's just the workload is going to be, it's immense for a lot of students, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Think
I used to have
carefully.
oh, sorry.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I used to have like this idea in my head that, no matter how much work there is, I could like still just finish it all, right? It's like, because that was just a thing in high school and whatnot. It's like, oh, I have a lot of work. Well, that doesn't mean I'm not going to finish it all. I still have time to do it all. But if you super load your classes, you will end up sacrificing either certain assignments that you're just not going to be able to spend as much time on, or you're going to sacrifice your health and well-being, or you'll super sacrifice your social life. So swapping a core class with like an elective and pushing that core class is definitely a feasible, like that's definitely a feasible strategy, as Professor Boog was saying.
Again, it's about picking the right courses, right? Again, if you're CS, you definitely want data structures, you definitely want systems, but you want that down going into junior year.
Yeah, especially with
Design,
internships, right?
Large design, is that important for you? It's not going to help you with your internship search, to be honest, right? It's not going to help you with that, right? You will need it to take computer architecture, but you can take that junior year.
Technical interview.
Well, you're a CPEG. Come on, but what am I saying? If you're a CPEG, right? Obviously, you want to take logic design, right? And so, find a good balance. Find a good balance. Nolan, do you agree? Nolan, Gabe, do you agree? You guys are juniors. Would you agree with what we just said?
Tell us that interview. That interview was terrible. I didn't know nearly enough.
Of course, students don't pay attention to what I'm saying. It's fine. I'm used
Nothing's
to
changed.
Nothing's changed.
They just hear your voice and it automatically gets filtered out.
I'm just background noise. All right. I guess. Wait, we have Corona Corner, right?
I guess. Yeah, it's getting late.
We could probably
though.
skip it.
All right, let's skip it. Hey, we know you guys rushed the field. You gave everybody coronavirus. Good job, everybody.
Yeah.
Way to pull a Jenkins.
Jenkins, etc., etc. Also, we're available in DMs with questions about classes and registration, stuff like that. So
yeah, feel free.
All of us are on the Slack too.
Feel free to ask us in IRC.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask us in Slack, I won't answer. I don't want to be recorded. In IRC, we can be a little bit more free with what we say. So,
yeah, we can give some pretty honest evaluations in IRC.
We can be a little more, on the DL sort of stuff. So, All right, folks. AKK, you know the deal.
Yeah, I'm buying some ducks. That's my outro. There's more context in IRC, but okay. We'll see you next time. I was about to say next week.
But not this week, no.
Probably not next week.
Stay safe, y'all.
Yeah.
Take care.
Drive safe.
Stay safe. Good luck with finals. Don't feel like you have to do everything. Don't feel like you have to take a winter course. Sometimes it's just nice to relax. All right?
You could definitely take winter as a break. Don't feel pressured to be a sweat and take a winter course. It's not going to screw you if you don't.
Just play Minecraft Dungeons. That's what I do.
Yep.
All right. See you, everybody.
See ya.
See ya.
Think of how many ducks you can get. That's a pretty good deal. And there's a coupon. See you on Duck Island, people. I'm not buying the ducks. You could buy a lot of ducks for $100. That's all I'm saying. Not going to say anything else.